Imagine you are an ancient human. Someone in your group has just died. Not in a hospital, not in a clean room, not behind a closed door. Right there, near the place where everyone sleeps. And now the body is still there. At first, it looks almost like the person is resting. But then the body changes, the skin changes, the smell changes, the insects come, the animals notice, and suddenly death is not only sad, it is a problem. A physical problem, a dangerous problem. A problem the whole group has to solve. So the strange question is not why humans cared about the dead. Many animals react when one of their own dies. The strange question is why humans began doing something so specific. Why dig a hole? Why cover the body? Why place stones on top? Why come back to the same place later? Why turn a dead body into something remembered? Because burial is not the obvious answer. If a body is dangerous, you can leave it behind. If it smells bad, you can walk away. If predators are coming, you can move the camp. That would be simple, but humans did something different. They started making death part of the group, and that may tell us something very deep about what humans were becoming. The first reason is the simplest. A dead body changes fast. In a cold place, maybe it changes slowly. In a hot place, it changes quickly. But eventually, every group would notice the same thing. The person who was alive yesterday is now attracting life of a different kind. Flies, beetles, small scavengers, larger scavengers, animals that follow smell, animals that follow blood, animals that do not care that this body used to be your friend. To them, it is food. And that is terrifying. Because the body is not far away. It is near your shelter, near your children, near your tools, near the fire, near the place where people sleep. So the first burial may not have started as a spiritual idea. It may have started as a practical one. Get the body away from the living, hide the smell, stop animals from coming too close, keep the camp safe. And if you think about it that way, a grave is like a solution. The earth becomes a barrier. The stones become a lid. The distance becomes protection. Not perfect protection, not modern sanitation, but enough to matter. Enough to keep a body from sitting open beside the living. Enough to stop the group from staring at decay every day. But practicality does not explain everything. Because if the only goal was to remove a body, humans could abandon it. They could drag it far away. They could leave it for animals. They could do the fastest thing and never look back. Sometimes they probably did. Ancient life was harsh. People moved. People were hungry. People did not always have time for careful rituals. But when humans did bury the dead, something else was happening. They were spending energy on someone who could no longer help them. That is the strange part. A dead person cannot hunt. A dead person cannot gather food. A dead person cannot defend the camp. A dead person cannot repay the work. And yet living people still worked for them. They dug. They carried. They arranged. They covered. They remembered. That means burial was not only about the body, it was about the living group. Because when someone dies, the group does not just lose a body. It loses a role. A hunter, a parent, a child, a tool maker, a storyteller, a person who knew where water was, a person who knew who could be trusted, a person whose face meant safety. When that person disappears, everyone has to understand what happened, and humans are not good at ignoring that. We do not see a body as meat. We see a person who used to answer us. That creates a problem no other tool can fix. The body is here, but the person is gone. That gap is confusing. It is frightening. It demands an action. And burial gives the group something to do. It turns helplessness into a sequence. Dig here, place the body here, cover the body, mark the place, stand together, leave, come back later. That sequence matters, because grief without action can feel like chaos. But grief with action becomes something the group can survive together. The body is no longer just lying there. It has a place, and the living have a way to move forward. This may be one of the deepest reasons burial became powerful. It solves more than one problem at the same time. It protects the camp. It hides decay. It keeps scavengers away. It gives the living a shared action. It marks that this person mattered, and it teaches everyone watching what the group does when one of its own dies. That last part is important, because burial is a message, not only to spirits, not only to the dead, to the living. It says this person was one of us. It says we do not treat our own like random meat. It says if you die, maybe we will do this for you too. And that creates trust. Imagine being injured in an ancient group. Imagine becoming old. Imagine getting sick. If your group abandons the weak instantly, every person lives with fear. But if your group cares for bodies, if it remembers people, if it treats the dead with attention, then the group feels different. It feels more stable, more human, more loyal. Even death becomes proof that belonging mattered. This is where burial starts becoming more than disposal. Because once a body has a place, memory has a place too. And this is where the evidence becomes important, because archaeologists cannot simply look at bones and read a person's mind. They have to look for clues. Was the body placed in a pit? Was it covered quickly? Was it protected from animals? Was it laid in a strange position? Were stones placed nearby? Were tools, shells, red pigment, or other objects found with it? Was the same cave or shelter used again and again? Each clue matters, but each clue can also be tricky. A cave can collapse. Water can move sediment. Animals can drag bones. Roots can disturb the ground. Later humans can dig through older layers. So when scientists talk about very old burials, they have to be careful. Some cases look strong. Some cases are debated. And some old stories have changed as new evidence appeared. That does not make the story weaker, it makes it more interesting. Because burial is not one simple switch that turns on everywhere at once. It appears as a behavior that humans and other human relatives may have explored in different ways. At some sites, the body seems deliberately placed. At others, the evidence is less clear. At some, the body has objects nearby. At others, there is only a body and a position. At some, people may have returned to the same place again and again. At others, one death may have created one action that was never repeated. So the safest answer is not that one ancient person invented burial. The safer answer is that many groups face the same terrible problem. What do you do when someone is gone, but the body is still here? And in different places, humans found similar answers. Cover it, protect it, move it out of daily life, mark it, remember it. This is why the famous burial sites matter. Not because they give us a perfect movie of the past, but because they show that bodies were sometimes treated in ways that look deliberate. At Shanidar Cave, Neanderthal remains have been discussed for decades because some bodies appear to have been placed or protected in unusual ways. There was even a famous idea that one Neanderthal had been buried with flowers. That idea became powerful. Almost too powerful. Because flowers make the story feel gentle and modern. But later debate showed the pollen evidence may be more complicated. Small animals or natural processes may have moved some of it. So the careful version is not Neanderthals definitely buried people with bouquets. The careful version is that Shanidar keeps forcing scientists to ask how intentional Neanderthal treatment of the dead really was. And that question alone is important, because even asking it means the bones are not random. They are close enough to deliberate behavior that the argument matters. Other sites connected with early modern humans also show that death was becoming something more than disposal. Bodies placed in caves, bodies with objects, bodies in positions that look chosen. Again, we should not pretend we know every belief behind them. Maybe there was belief in a spirit, maybe there was fear of the dead, maybe there was respect, maybe there was grief, maybe there was just a rule the group followed because it had worked before. But the visible action is still huge. The living changed the body from a problem into a place. A grave can become a location. The place where the old hunter is, the place where the child is, the place where the mother is, the place people avoid.